In this demo, I'm going to walk you through how to customize the look and feel of the filter pane. Now, before I begin, I want to talk about what our goal is. For the filter pane, we don't need to get too carried away with the formatting. We just want to make sure it's clear to users of our report which filters are applied. We don't want our users to think they're looking at one thing when they're actually looking at something else. So the first thing I'm going to do for this filter pane is I'm just going to add some fields. So I'll just go into our video games table. I'm going to grab title. I'm going to collapse that by hitting the caret. I'll add genre and category. If you click this little up arrow, you can collapse these so that they don't show all of the values. And I'll add just one more. I'll add rating. Okay. And before I start formatting, I'm also going to just randomly make a selection from one of the filters. And in a few moments, you'll understand why. So I'm just going to go ahead and select everyone from rating. When we're done, let's go to our page formatting options, which are over here in the visualizations pane. I just click on format. And I want to go all the way down to the bottom where I can format the filter pane or the actual filter cards within the filter pane. So I'm going to expand filter pane. And all of this is pretty standard stuff, especially compared to some of the other data visuals that we've built. You can change the background color of the filter pane itself. For example, if you wanted it to be blue, for example, I'm just going to leave it white for now. You can change the color of the different fonts and icons that are used. I'm fine with black just for this purpose, but you understand how it works. And you can also change the title within the filter pane. So I'll go ahead and increase the size of the filter pane title, which is up here. And you can also increase the size of the headers. And I'm going to make everything just a little bit larger since this is a demo, and I want you to be able to read everything. So I've increased the size of the headers, which are filters on this page, filters on all pages. And if you want, you can also change it to a different font. And you can also change the color of the border that separates the filter pane from the rest of your report. I usually set this to black, personally. Okay. One last note at the bottom is that if you want to change the input box up here, you can also configure that as well. Usually the only thing that I do is I just make the search box a little bit larger because some of my users tend not to immediately recognize that they have the search box up there. So I tend to make it larger just so they can easily spot it. But what we're primarily interested in this is the filter cards themselves. And these are the most important part because your users will primarily interact with the filter pane through these cards. The filter card formatting settings are just below the filter pane formatting settings. And the first thing you might notice is this type box, where you can pick available or applied. This is an important concept because this box determines how our cards look when nothing is selected versus when something is. For example, it's the reason why my rating card here is gray and not white. Let's talk about how I made a random filter selection before we started formatting this. And this is why. If I change the applied settings, notice that currently the background color is set to gray, but I can change that to something like navy. And I can change the font and text to white. And I can even increase the text size. So notice that these changes are only impacting the cards that I have on this page where I have something applied. In other words, these cards are not in their default state. What you want to do when you're customizing your filter pane is you just want to be able to highlight filters that are applied so that if your users are making all kinds of filter selections and they're looking at the visuals in their report, you want to make it as easy as possible for them to reference the filters that they have applied so that they know exactly what they're looking at. If you want to go and customize your available cards, in this case title, category, and genre, you can also bump up the size of those a little bit. You can give those a gray color to kind of make it look more like they're not currently active. You can customize those exactly the same way that you customize the applied card. You just want to make sure that there's something distinguishing the applied cards so that it's easy for users to know what filters are applied at all times.